Hello and welcome to Special Stage 2, the second edition of our Special Stage podcast. I'm Luke Whitten, and with me here I've got Peter Whitten from the Rally Sport Mag team. And we'd just firstly like to thank you all for the feedback on episode 1. It was great to hear from all of you about your thoughts on how the first episode panned out, and we hope to have you along for many, many more. Peter, thanks so much for your time. How are you today?
I'm going really well, Luke, and lots to talk about this week.
Oh, yeah, there's lots of things always to talk about in the rally world. It's good when weeks like this happen because I always talk to a few people about it via message, via calls and stuff like that. But just chat about it in an open sort of forum is pretty cool as well. So thank you for your listeners.
Yeah, and I think this week too, in particular, we've got Rally Sweden coming up this weekend, which is always exciting. But we've also got some state rounds and things like that coming up too. So there's really the interest and the involvement in events is really upping at the moment, which is great.
We hope you got something out of the first episode, and we hope you get something out of this one as well. We've got Brendan Reeves coming up, as you might have seen in the episode notes. He's going to chat to us about all things Sweden, all things Datsun, and obviously Hyundai as well. So we'll ask some of the questions that we're sure are on many people's list. I was actually thinking last week that it'd be good to get another one out week by week and not have to wait for another fortnight, but it's just time and getting the support to do these podcasts. But if we could do that, it'd be good to have you every week on, Peter.
That sure would, Luke. And let's just say right from the get-go, I guess, that if any business out there is keen to support the podcast and come on board and help us to make it a weekly show, then please get in touch with us. We'd love to have a partner to do this with.
Yeah, it's a simple scenario, really. More subscribers, more supporters for the podcast and whatnot. So, yeah, head on and see what you can do. The first thing that we'll jump on and talk about is Ben Hayes. It's a name that maybe not so many Australian rally people will recognise, but he's built a brand new Subaru BRZ rally car. He is a Victorian champion, but those images that we got earlier this week of the Subaru BRZ were pretty cool. And you spoke to him about the car?
Yeah, and Ben had a BRZ initially. I think it was a Series 1 they called it, and it was a 2-litre version, and he was going to build that up and put a supercharger on, but decided against that when the new 2.4-litre car came out, and he's had that stripped down, and he admitted at the time that it was a tough thing to get a brand new car and then strip it down for rallying. But Graham Wise has done a fantastic job in mostly building the car, and it's a work of art, and it'll really be good to see it out there on the ARC stages this year.
And Graham Wise as well as a Victorian rally champion, so there must be something in Victorian champions building cool cars. I guess Graham competed a lot in the 1990s and against you at times as well.
He did, yeah. When I was competing against Graham, he was in a Lancer Evo 2, but before then even he was running the Ford Sierra XR 4x4, which was an ex-Ford Borum car that was driven by Stig Blomqvist at Rally New Zealand, I think, and then it went into the hands of Brian Stokes, who did very well in New Zealand and then came to Australia. So that car is still around in John Carney's shed. So that's a feature story for this year too, I hope.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess having a new car in the ARC is really great, but a new car or a new rally car build doesn't necessarily have to be a brand new car. This car came out in 2022, so it's a brand new car in every sense of the word. And as you say, Peter, he's had to take apart this brand new car, which he said pained him a little bit.
Yeah, and it's pretty rare, isn't it? Because, as you say, it is a brand new car. Most of the cars we see appearing in the ARC and in events around the country are, I guess, they're Subaru Imprezas, they're Mitsubishi Lancers, things like that, which are 10, 15, up to 20 years old now, and they become a rally car from then. But to have a brand new 2022 model is fantastic, and I think that says a lot about the Australian Championship, where it's going, but also full credit to Ben and his team for committing to do the series this year.
Yeah, I guess alongside the factory GR Yaris's and the new Hyundais that are coming, it will be the newest car in the field. It's something that the ARC needs in terms of new and relevant cars, I think.
It is, and it will be great to see a rear-wheel drive car out there. I'm not sure where it will place. Surely it will be up there in terms of the two-wheel drive class this year. But I think Ben is a quality driver. He's proven that over the years by winning the Victorian Championship. And to see a front-running rear-wheel drive car in the ARC will be fantastic.
And just to identify that it's not a factory car, so Subaru Australia haven't supported it at all. I know he's got some support from Maximum Motorsport in terms of securing the car to rally, but yeah, there's no factory backing, which is a bit of a shame. It's always nice to see a Subaru on the entry list, but this one's not a factory car, which is all okay. How would it be to drive, Peter? Do you think it's a 2.4 litre engine? I know you've competed a lot in rear-wheel drives, but it's a bit more power than what your Escort might have.
Yeah, I think it'd be a fantastically fun thing to drive. I mean, the car itself, the engineering of those modern day cars is pretty good nowadays. And with the suspension and brake package that it would have, it's got Murray Coote suspension. So I'm sure that it will be great to drive and probably very easy to drive too, even though it does have a lot of power.
The next big news item, I guess, is the tender that went out a couple of days ago about the ARC control tyre. Now, the control tyre has been in the ARC since Kumo started it back in the early 2010s. It's gained a bit of conversation and stuff on social media with regards to where people's opinions sit on the control tyre. It's always something that garners conversation every time it comes up, but this year it might be even more so. What are your thoughts on that? I guess to outline initially, Hoosier's deal is finishing at the end of this year, and they've opened tenders for the 2024, 2025 and 2026 years for another control tyre, whether that be Hoosier or someone else. So I guess, Peter, what are your thoughts?
It's that old chestnut, isn't it, Luke? I mean, it gets lots and lots of chatter about every time the tender comes up. And to be fair, it's mostly negative. There aren't too many people on social media who are getting out there and saying what a great thing it is to have a control tyre. But I think any time that a commercial sponsor is involved in the Australian Championship, it's a good thing. But having said that, I really don't see how this benefits the ARC at all. As we know, there's only one manufacturer-supported team at the top level, and it just puts an even greater financial stress on the privateer teams, which are obviously everybody else, in order to pay for the tyres and get to the events. And obviously takes away that possible sponsorship that competitors can have from their own tyre deal, whether it be a Dunlop dealer or a Silverstone dealer or an MRF or whoever it might be.
Yeah, there's been quite a few deals back in the day, and I guess before the control tyres became a thing, guys were bringing on new manufacturers from overseas and stuff like that were coming in with new rally tyres in Australia. MRF was one of those ones, and I guess Hoosier too were relatively new to the market when they came in as the ARC control tyre. But the Hoosiers have gone up quite significantly this year. We believe a 25% increase, up to almost $500 a tyre. Do you have the figure there?
Yeah, it's gone up from $360 a tyre to $475, and as you say, it's a 25% increase. And as we know, prices in everything have gone up, whether that be your interest rates or your petrol or whatever it might be. But this is really going to be especially hard for people who want to do the ARC, and even if they just want to do their own local round. So if you wanted to enter the first round of the Tasmanian Championship and do the ARC down there as well, you have to run Hoosier tyres. So there's that initial cost. It's a fixed price on the tyres, so you can't go and barter a deal with the local distributor. So again, as we said, that makes it really hard for those people who are privateers and don't have that budget that some of the bigger teams might have.
Yeah, and in the lower classes as well, it's a bit more difficult because understandably the lower classes are going to events with lesser budgets. So maybe it's something to think about or something to discuss down the track about whether the outright class is to be a control tyre and then the lower classes, I guess, can bring their own tyre, or whether there's more than one tyre that people can use. I know in the 2020 tyre tender for when Hoosier were about to come on board, I looked it up and grabbed it off my computer, and there was two options. So there was one for a control tyre supplier and then there was one for approved tyre suppliers. So there could have been the option in the last period to have 4 to 6 tyre manufacturers that would have had the opportunity to be a part of the ARC. And maybe that's a suitable option. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's suitable to have the lower classes, like I just said, as an open tyre market. Who knows? I guess the ARC have got a job to do in looking after the sport, both at their level and also trying to bring in more people into the national series. But I guess it's a tricky task and one that I'm sure they're not taking lightly.
I think too, Luke, we need to ask the question, who does this actually benefit with a control tyre? Does it benefit the organisers? Does it benefit the championship? And financially, I'm sure it does, and which is a great thing. But does it benefit the competitors in any way? We know that realistically, there's probably only 2 or 3 cars who are competing for the outright championship. Guys in the production cup are running Subarus and Mitsubishis and things, which are now 15, 20, 25 years old. And I'm sure even in the Tour Drive and the Junior Cup, I mean, there's so many cars of different varieties and types, whether you're running a standard R1 spec Ford Fiesta or a turbo Citroen DS, or whether you're running a front-wheel drive Mitsubishi Magna. They're all totally different cars with different horsepower, different characteristics. And I'm really not sure that the control tyre makes any difference to those competitions at all. So by having a Guy Tyler on a Pirelli and a James Dimmick on a Dunlop, I don't think that makes any difference to the overall result at all.
We could talk about this control tyre stuff for a while, but we'll move on. I guess in closing, it's the tyre tenders open. Control tyre could be Hoosier, it could be Pirelli, it could be Dunlop, it could be a brand new tyre manufacturer that comes in for 2024. The ARC will do their thing. I believe the tenders close at the end of March. But yeah, discussions will go on. The ARC are there to look after the sport, and I'm sure they'll do their best to do that. In terms of other news, you mentioned Dimmick there, James Dimmick. He's into his father's Toyota Yaris AP4 for the ARC this year. His entry's in for Rally Launceston. It'll be good to see him in an outright car and, yeah, really pushing those top 10 results.
It will be for sure. And James did a test of that Toyota Yaris AP4 in around Bega on a speedway track just recently, and it was pretty wet, so it was pretty much a speedway track with 4 corners. But from all reports, James took to it like a duck to water. And I think, look, he was in probably one of the most underpowered or less high tech 2-wheel drive cars last year. Only just missed out on the 2-wheel drive cup for the 2022 season. So I think we'll see big improvements from James, obviously, and yeah, definitely within the top 10 and maybe pushing for top 5 results by the end of the year.
Another guy in a similar boat, Daniel Gonzalez, has switched from Race Talk to Maximum Motorsport. By doing so, he won't get the new i20N Rally 2 car. He'll be looking at competing in his Skoda Fabia R5 for the year, while also having the Hyundai there that he campaigned last year as a bit of a backup car as well. So he's as keen as ever. I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago. There's an article on Rally Sport magazine, but he said he's raring to go, hoping to get there for Launceston, just waiting on a couple of parts from overseas. So they're doing a refresh on those 2 cars, but yeah, he's really looking forward to the year again, which is great. And it's good to have him and his enthusiasm looking forward to the year ahead.
Wouldn't we all love to be Daniel Gonzalez and have the choice of R5 cars to bring out for the next ARC round? And half his luck, I'm sure he's worked very hard to get that financial backing behind him. And it'll be great to see him out there because he made some big gains on his speed throughout last year, driving both the Hyundai and the Skoda. And I guess this year he'll probably stick to one car, and presumably that's going to be the Skoda. And I'm sure he'll make some big gains again.
Max McRae and Taylor Gill are 2 names that I guess are intertwined now because they're both young guys going over to Europe that we'll all be following. Max will be doing the Junior European Rally Championship, while Taylor will continue to do his thing in the FIA Rally Star. How do you think Max will go, and how do you think Taylor will go overseas?
Well, I think we should be confident, given what the 2 guys have done in Australia in the last couple of years. We should be confident that they'll go very well. Max has got a clear program set out for him this year with the European Junior Championship. It's unfortunate for Taylor because even as we speak now, his program of 6 events this year hasn't been announced. So he doesn't know whether he's starting rallying in February, in March, in June, whatever it might be, and he doesn't know where those rallies are going to be. So, of course, he knows he's going to be in a Ford Fiesta Rally 3 car, but it must be frustrating for he and for Dan Brigg to not know where they're going next and what they're doing first.
And further in my interview with Brendo, we speak about Rally Sweden. Rally Sweden for you, Peter, you were there a few years ago, but what do you think about the Swedish event and the changes that's been made to it?
For me, Luke, I think it's a bit like the Monaco Grand Prix in Formula One. It's probably the one event that I really look forward to every year the most. given that it's totally different conditions to what we see anywhere else. And hopefully it's a full snow event this year. I know the conditions over in the north of Sweden have been fairly mild the last few days, but they're talking about an icy base with snow on top. So I hope that's the case and we don't see the gravel pulling through again and that we get a proper snow rally, because there's nothing more exciting, I don't think, than rally cars doing 200 k's an hour on snow.
That's right. And your predictions, are you taking Kalle Rovanperä or are you taking the field?
Oh, it's a tough one again. I mean, Kalle's first on the road, so again, it'll depend a lot on the conditions. If there's lots of snow, being first on the road is not going to be an advantage to him. I think the conditions will probably suit him, and you'd be a wise person to bet against him. But yeah, again, Thierry Neuville for Hyundai, he was quick in Monte Carlo. Tanak did an event on snow in his Puma Rally 1 car last weekend and won outright in Estonia. So I think he'll be quick. Whether he's got to grips with that car enough yet to challenge for a win, I don't know. But yeah, as I said, let's just hope the conditions are proper snow conditions and we see a great result.
In a couple of words, who's going to win? You sort of avoided the question there. Who's going to win in Rally Sweden?
I'm going to go Rovanperä because I think he's the man in form. He's got nothing to lose at the moment. He's already got good points from the first event, so I think you can almost back him in.
Good predictions. We'll hold you to that one in the next episode of Special Stage. Thanks for listening again. We'll head on across to our interview with Brendan Reeves. We hope you enjoy that one and we'll see you all soon. Welcome along, Brendo. You're a busy man, so I appreciate you spending some time to chat. How are you going?
Doing well, thanks. I'm just home at my kitchen table. I think I'm busy just because I have a kid now, so Darla keeps us entertained. She goes to bed about 7:30, so I try and get home before then and give Cass a hand. But yeah, rally action's starting to heat up a little bit. We're getting through summer and I can almost smell the race fuel.
Yeah, so how have things been over the summer? I guess is work at fever pitch coming into this year? You mentioned just before your track's starting to get nice and busy.
Yeah. The end of last year was crazy just because we had the Alpine, which was the 100th anniversary, and there was a lot of hype and build up around that event. And then the weekend after, we also had the N Festival, and working with Hyundai with those cars. That was a big event, and doing some testing for them with cars as well. So it was a big finish to the year. So it's been nice to have a break and family time. Work's been really busy as well. But I'm excited to get back into rally season. It's cool to have the WRC back on as well. It's cool to listen to and see on WRC Plus.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like you say, we'll begin with Rally Sweden. It's one of my favourite WRC events of the year, actually. It's just always great to follow online on WRC Plus, like you say. It's just so unique with the snow and the different tactics that it brings in. Do you follow it in a similar way? Do you enjoy watching Rally Sweden more so than others?
Yeah, I think so, just because we don't get to experience snow here in Australia. And the rally, generally you're going to bed as the rally's starting, so you stay up late and catch up a bit of it. And then if you don't stay up all night, you're generally waking up in the morning and the rally's just finishing for the day. But it's really exciting also because of the speed. It's probably the fastest rally they talk about of the year. I've had a few friends from over Sweden throughout the years and all that, but I've never been there myself. Always been excited by it though, and these new WRC Rally 1 cars are pretty insane, especially with the extra 130 horsepower they talk about. But yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on WRC 2 as well. With young Solberg in the Skoda, he seemed quick at Monte Carlo, but didn't go for points. So it'll be cool to see him now at his home event, what he can actually do.
Yeah, the list of WRC2 drivers at Sweden is pretty crazy. There's Scandinavians as far as the eye can see, and they're all going to be just as quick as each other. Out of the top four drivers, I guess, Rovanperä, Neuville, Tanak, and Evans, do you see one person jumping up ahead of the rest of them?
I think so. I would have thought Rovanperä just has the edge. The Hyundai still doesn't quite seem comfortable on tarmac, at least. Neuville hasn't done as much testing probably as some of the other guys. He had good pace at Monty, but he just wasn't comfortable. And Robin pulled some time back in on Ogier and seemed super comfortable when he needed to be, even though I think Ogier won 12 stages or something. He really controlled the rally. Even when people thought he didn't have control, he just drove really smart through the night, lost a bit of time and back in the lead. But yeah, I think Robin looking back at his pace, and I do WRC fantasy team online, and Robin actually nearly got as many points as Ogier, so that shocked me. His speed was really, really good. And he's on form at the minute. You know, a lot of the other drivers have kids and have things going on in their life, and he's just keen as ever and wants to win another title.
Yeah, I think it's going to take something special to stop him from getting another title. That's for sure. Like you say earlier, never been to Sweden, but you do have experience on snow and ice, albeit in a test. Can you tell me a bit about that and your experience doing the snow and ice thing?
Yeah, so when I did the WRC Academy, particularly when I won the Pirelli Star Driver Scholarship, had an anonymous sponsor pay for Rhiannon and I to go and do the Tommy Mackinnon Snow School. So that was quite amazing. We spent 2 days over there in Uvascular. Got to meet a lot of cool people and spend 2 days there. We drove Subaru hatchbacks because it was in 2011 at the start of the season. And they were Group N spec cars. One was a test car. And the second day, when we moved to more of a Rally Finland type stage, Tommy Mackinnon come out and he did about 6 runs driving the car with me sitting beside him. And he was explaining about using the snowbanks to actually help the car get through the corner, which we all know watching online. But the big thing you don't really see is a lot of the time, say if it's a left-hand corner and you use the outside of the car to hit the bank and bring the car straight, you've got to be turning out of that bank with the steering. And It takes quite a lot of doing. And my instructor, I had him with me at the time when I started to get a little bit of confidence. He wasn't wearing a harness device, and we come through this corner full speed. He's like, use the bank. And I bounced off the bank, and we had big 360. You can't see anything. It's completely white. And we wait a few seconds and the snow comes down and clear. Everything's all right. And he goes, we go back to service and we get Hans device.
That's a smart move, I think.
Yeah. It's so funny. And they can just tell when you're starting to get the confidence, but that's what they want you to do as well. And it's like you say, there's so many local drivers in WRC too, and that would be so hard to beat because it's a whole nother craft and the speed is amazing. And sitting beside Tommy, yes, it was only a Group N car at the time, but I was blown away by the speed and the commitment. And he'd been out of rallying for years by then, but it was just, an absolute masterclass on how to drive. It was really awesome.
Yeah, and I guess initially it's a tricky thing to get your head around in terms of using the snowbank, to push you back onto the road. But in practice, you're in the car. You're never taught to hit something here in Australia like you would a snowbank. To actually let the car go in there and to hit the snowbank must have been really, really hard to put down into practice.
Yeah, it was. And I think it took you, like I had that spin, you had to overdrive to get the confidence or to actually test the water on how to do it. And the first day was a really tight, twisty stage around a lake because the lake wasn't actually frozen enough that year to drive on the lake. But the second day, being more of a fast-flowing traditional finish stage, it took a bit of confidence to throw the car, half a gear faster through the corner and knowing at the exit you had this snowbank to keep you on the road. But it'll be interesting to see Sweden this year, how the weather is and how the snow is. I was having a bit of a look before, and it looks like it's in the minuses for the week. Like the warmest seemed to be about -4, so that should be really good, I think. And there wasn't much snow predicted on the weekend, but there's already quite a lot of snow on the ground. So hopefully, it's really good for us fans watching.
Yeah, and it's the snow and it's the ice and it's the temperature, like you say, that really changes things. In terms of tyres, the main difference, obviously, to gravel is the studs. How do you generate the grip from those studs? Were you able to learn a bit of that on the test?
Yeah, especially on the first day, Takio Larkinen, who was instructing me, he basically said, either be on the throttle or on the brake. Don't be doing anything in between, because you just sit on top of the road. You're not digging into the road. But say maybe first pass of the road, you're sweeping a bit of light snow. But once you're on that second pass and you're getting into the ice, as they say, the grip's just phenomenal. It feels faster than on gravel. And also, I think because the tyres are so skinny and you have the 7mm studs, the traction and there's less friction from rotating a tyre, the speed's just phenomenal. And I remember in the stage, there was a hairpin, but really fast coming up to it. And it felt like you were braking way too late, but you'd make the hairpin turn every time. It's really something special and unique. And I wish we did have it here because it's really good fun.
Yeah, it would be pretty amazing. Is the goal to still warm up the tyres, though, as you would for a gravel rally? Because I guess the studs are metal. They can't really warm up, more or less. But I guess you got to use the rubber at some point as well.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, you don't want to wear off the studs. So you certainly don't want to warm them up on the tarmac or the transport there. More once you get onto the gravel and the snow. Say if the tarmac transport might be a little bit less frozen, you have to be careful because you don't want to wear those studs off. And you might see some of the stages go into the night or in the early morning. You actually see the sparks, and that's either sometimes it is the brake friction, but most of it's then studs hitting rocks and different things or the ice. And it looks really cool. It's another element to it.
Yeah. And I guess you briefly competed in Victoria's latest snow rally in Marysville a couple of years ago. So I guess maybe you're not that foreign to it after all.
Yeah, that was quite scary. And Datsilla actually being the tour drive, and the car wasn't handling the best, but we did some good stage times. We actually had a lot of fun, and I look back at those photos now and it's very unique, and we may not even get it again. Marysville's not in the Victorian calendar this year, but that was really cool. It's good you mentioned that. It did scare a lot of people, and I was really high up on the road. I think I ended up being fourth actually, but a car went out on the first stage. But over the day, the roads defrosted and we got faster because we were using standard gravel rally tyres. But yeah, with studs, it would have been phenomenal.
And moving on to Datsun, like you say, it's your Datsun 1600 rally car, which I'm sure is your pride and joy. Is it in the shed sitting there, rally ready for this season?
No, it's never rally ready. Don't be silly. We're always working away on it. So yeah, we thought initially it came up pretty good from Alpine, but a closer look, there was quite a bit of work to do. There was a lot of rock damage underneath and different things. It was the biggest rally I've ever done, I think, period, let alone in that car, being, I think it was just under 450 kilometers. So that's probably 3 rallies in one normally, which is half a season. So it was pretty hard on the car, but absolutely loved it, even though the troubles we had. So yeah, a lot of prep on the car now. And then, yeah, hopefully we're preparing it to do Midamida, which is only about 4 weeks away. I really like that rally in the mountains. And yeah, we're just going to pick a few rallies that we enjoy to do this year, just like we did last year.
Yeah. Lots of little issues in the Alpine rally that really, I guess, plagued you throughout it. Where can you improve the car to make it stronger, faster, and I guess getting better results this year?
Yeah, so sort of the main thing that plagued us was the rear brakes. We had some new rear calipers on the car and we only ended up getting to do very limited amount of testing, which we probably would have found the issue in testing if we had done a longer test. But I got the brake calipers painted, and they painted the inside where the calipers joined together, which I didn't know at the time. So yeah, the fluid actually leaked out through there after, I think it was in the 5th stage. So it took a little while to happen. And then at service, we tried some different seals and got rid of some of that paint, but we couldn't get the problem to go away. And we just ended up blocking off the rear brakes and drove with front brakes, which is very, very difficult. But yeah, we got through that. We borrowed some calipers off someone for the rest of the rally, and sort of split ours and used half of ours and half of theirs because theirs weren't perfect either. But once we had that together, the last day, the Sunday, and actually the Saturday afternoon as well, the car felt really good. So we're still probably struggling for a little bit of rear traction. I've got the car fairly heavily sprung in the rear just to stop that horrible toe change that the Datsuns do. And then, yeah, we can get confidence and the brakes are working well. I think you just need that reliability, which is, what we didn't have at Alpine.
Yeah, that's right. And I guess you've mentioned a couple of events that you're going to handpick across this year. Will you move it outside Victoria at some point? You've flagged your interest at doing the Otago Rally, but I guess with Mitter on the cards, that might not be possible now.
Yeah, we won't with what damage there was to the car after Alpine, and on the way home, our transit van blew up an engine, so we need to fix that as well. So there was a few things happen, and we just said, okay, Otago in the Datsuns out of the question for this year, like we wanted to do. But yeah, I'll certainly be trying to go outside of Victoria as well. I really loved doing Bega Rally last year. It's moved to later in the year. That makes it a little bit harder for me. When it was on June long weekend, I found it really good to travel up there and back. But yeah, we'll find a few events, and there's obviously some great rallies here in Victoria as well to choose.
And obviously Kate Catford, and who's now Kate Raymond, will she be in the co-driver's seat again?
Yeah, Kate's. I messaged her on her honeymoon just to check that she was organised to do Mitter because I think I had in my mind that I was doing it, but I probably hadn't spoken to Kate with what she had going on, getting married and everything. But yeah, we're in the at the minute we're peeling the names off pretty much to change her name. So that'll be good. She's excited, and she's been doing a great job. It's been really good fun, and sometimes her husband Glenn's been able to come along and swing some spanners as well. So that's been even more handy.
So now she's on her honeymoon. Does that mean you're putting in the entry to the Mitter Mountain Rally? Is it role reversal almost in terms of prep?
Yeah, we always put in the entry, so that's all right. That stayed the same. So that's in. Cass actually helped me put this one in, so that was good. But yeah, I think with Rhiannon used to do all the entries, but now I try and do that myself. But there's a lot of work to do to prepare for rallies, but it's good fun. We love it, and yeah, especially in Mitter, I don't know. Before I'd done it, and it used to be 4 stages used twice. I don't think it was quite as good, but I like the mix of roads they had now. And last year, we had some unluck on the second stage, but it was just before they had torrential rain. I think they had 2 inches of rain in about an hour. So we actually didn't get to drive in the wet weather, but I'll be looking for hopefully a bit of dry weather this year.
Yeah, it's a good event now, how they use just single-use roads, I believe, and I think that's going to be the same this year as well. It's nice just to be able to use the roads one time and you're coming across it new, obviously on every single stage, which is cool.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, the only time it makes it tricky if the person, say your car 2 on the road and your closest competitor's car 15 with a swept road, they might get a swept road all day. So it makes it really hard. But just like Alpine was, using different stages every time you go out is such a great challenge and keeps you really sharp, keeps the co-driver sharp as well, whether, they're on point or they make mistakes. So yeah, it's really good. And the mountain roads over there, I think, are another challenge because uphill you can, try and attack the corner more. And say the downhill, you've got to be really smart in your braking zones and everything. So it keeps you on your toes.
Yeah. Moving on to Hyundai stuff, it'd be remiss of me not to talk to you in some depth about that and about your role with Hyundai. There's questions on lots of people's lips, as I'm sure there is mine. The one-off drive in Canberra last year was pretty special for you. Can you tell me a bit about how that was received by Hyundai and in Australia?
Yeah. So we did the first round of the Australian Rally Championship last year. That come together sort of out of the blue, and it come together really fast, and there was a car available to lease. So I think it was a really good thing to pursue, and we made it happen, and Australia was on board and went really well. Like with Shane Van Gisbergen being there was probably a lot more publicity at a rally event than there had been for a long time. And with Harry Bates really driving well now, we were able to go there as well as Shane and give him a bit of a challenge, which was really nice. So we had some troubles on the Saturday, just learning the car and getting the setup, and it was wet weather. And the Sunday went really well. We kicked off with a stage win on the first stage on the Sunday morning. So it gave us some good confidence, and we ended up on the podium. So it was really cool getting third. But obviously, me as a driver, I want to be winning. But it was pretty stretched to expect a win from that event in an old car first time out. But yeah, we learnt the car. We had Hayden on the helpline, calling him a little bit just to get some advice. He'd driven that car before. But yeah, Hyundai did receive it really well. I think the biggest thing is the cost of these R5s Rally 2 cars. It's a hell of a lot of money. Maybe for a manufacturer, everyone thinks, oh, it's easy. They've got plenty of money to sell plenty of cars. But yeah, they've just got to be able to justify it internally. And I think, rallying's very marketable, just depending on how you go about it. And I think you could certainly make it work in Australia. And it seems like it's on a bit of an up at the minute, which is really good. So yeah, I'll just keep pushing and working with the N cars on track experiences and different things now. So keep trying to bring Hyundai along, and hopefully one day we can get another rally out of them.
Yeah, I guess, is it challenging in a way to be somewhat in the middle there? You're a Hyundai man through and through, and you do some really, really cool things with them, but they're not fully committed, I guess, committed at all to what you love in rallying. Is that a little bit hard for you, or are you just continually trying to push them down the gravel path?
Yeah, I just keep trying to show them how much I love rallying and how important it is for a brand and a manufacturer. And I think with Hyundai being at WRC, it shows that that's where they want to market their cars. And I think that Australia should be involved more in rallying. And I've probably, what have I been rallying now since I was 17. So it's been half of my life's been rallying, and I love it. And with Rhiannon rallying with Subaru overseas, that's been really cool to watch. But also, I'm very jealous of her getting to rally all the time in a factory outfit, because that's what I want to be doing. But there's no other manufacturer in Australia doing it either. So I sort of look back and go, well, I can stick at Hyundai and we keep trying, and we get to do cool experiences with these N cars, and they build a really cool road car. Or you could be, involved with no one at all. So I think it's a good brand and company to be involved with, and I'll just keep pushing, and maybe the future's brighter. We'll see.
Yeah, that's it. They do some really cool stuff with those N cars, and particularly the clubs and stuff and the track days that they do have. So it's a really good initiative, and I'm sure with you on board there, they'll be continuing looking at rallying, that's for sure. Our subscribers would be aware, obviously, that there's a couple of new Rally 2 Hyundais that are coming into the country, maybe even a few more than a couple. What are your thoughts on that? And have you spoken to the Rulos or Race Talk about those new cars coming in?
Initially, last year I was sort of partially involved trying to get a Hyundai for myself. It just didn't come off in the end. But yeah, I don't know how many have ended up coming in, but there was talk of a lot of cars there for a little while, and I think Lane didn't know what he could do and how we would make it work. So it would be cool if we do see a few of these new i20Ns, because I see them, in the WRC, and they do seem to be a very competitive and fast car. And the speed we showed in the old car that the Walkham's had, I thought was really good. So if the new car, is half a second a kilometre quicker, or maybe even more, it would be a really good thing in our championship. Touching with the Rulos, I think the father and son both had cars coming. So if they do, that'll be really cool for the championship. I've been hearing a few rumours and who's coming and whatnot, but it looks like the first round at least, there should be quite a few cars, which it should be competitive as well if Nathan Quinn's back, and whether Eli comes back, and with Lewis getting confidence and winning the championship over the year, he's done a really good job, so he's made a step up as well. And then there's talk of maybe Shane doing a few more rounds as well, so that'll be really cool.
So talking about steps, what's the next step for you as a rally driver? Are you continuing to look down the Datsun path, or are you still going to keep chasing that ultimate goal of whether that be a program in the Australian Championship or whether it be a program in New Zealand like you've done before? I guess, where do those goals still lie for you?
I've probably changed a little bit. The last few years, I've been doing a little bit more training, driver training and things like that, helping people. I've actually got a young Indonesia driver coming to do the Australian Championship this year. So I'm training him and helping him set up, and goes well. It should be a 2-year program for him. So I already met them earlier on, the end of last year. They come over and visited and saw my track and stuff. So that'll be really good. I enjoy doing that, especially with young drivers. They seem to be like a sponge. They just absorb the information and really listen and positive, and they want to achieve whatever they've set out to achieve. So that should be good, solid season. So I should be coming to a few of the ARCs along the way to help them out. So that'll be good. So got that, and then a few rallies I'll be doing as well in the Datsun. And then, there's a lot of Hyundai track days as well I'll be involved in. And the family earth moving business is obviously very busy as well. So it keeps me sharp, even though I want to be doing an outright championship. It's just not happening, and it's a little bit out of my league affordability wise at the minute. So I'll just keep plugging away and be involved in the sport because I like being involved, and even talking about it, it's really good fun.
That's right. I'm sure we'll have to book in a time for you to chat about the ventures overseas with the WRC Academy as well. I'm sure you got plenty of good stories to tell about that, so we'll have to lock that one in at some point. Quickly though, do you have any word on, I guess, the two young men heading over to Europe this year, Taylor Gill and Max McRae? Do you have any advice for them? Obviously, you've got some experience over there doing European stuff. Anything that you might be able to pass on to them as guidance?
Oh, definitely. Like, I spoke to Taylor early on when he'd won the series or won the prize. And I've been through a very similar thing and worked with the same team before. And I just said to Taylor, look, you need to go over there and live for the year and really focus on what you're doing over there, because there'll be opportunities arise. And if you're not staying there and being involved, you won't get those opportunities. And I think that's so important because I could see when I was coming backwards and forwards from Australia, because in the second year, I was trying to sort of do Australian Championship stuff and WRC stuff, and it was really hard to manage. But if you're over there, I stayed at one period for 3 months. Sort of doors did start to open little bits and pieces, and I was living just out near M Sport and training there with the guys inside the workshop once a week, and doing a lot of bike rides and getting my fitness up. But there might be one day where they say, "Hey, can you shake down some cars for us?" or something like that. And that's really what I tried to push with Taylor, that if he can be there and around Matt Check at M Sport Poland, I think he'll really like Taylor. He's a good kid. And then as far as Max goes, Max has got some really good people around him already. So I don't think I could give as good of advice as his dad or grandpa could, and he'd already have the visa, so he'll be right in the passport. But I think Max is doing it the right way. He's obviously got a lot of pressure on his shoulders, and a lot of people want him to be in WRC, but he seems to be taking it his own way and going about it how he wants to, which I think is really important. There's no point going and doing these rallies if your heart and your passion's not in it. And you'll do much better if you look at it and treat it with your own goals in your own way, and don't sort of, take advice from people. But obviously I was worried at the start that, he could really get pushed into something he doesn't want to do, but he seems to really enjoy it now, and he's involved with Dirtfish, and they seem to be really good people, with Rhiannon being involved with them as well. And I'm just jealous, of what they're getting to drive in these cars, these new Rally 3 Fiestas. They're a massive step up from the R2 that I drove, being four-wheel drive turbo, and I had the pleasure of driving one last year in a test, and they're a really awesome little car. They're basically like a PRC Subaru that's minimum weight and always on boost and power, and really good fun to drive. So both them boys, having done the production cup in the ARC, will be a really good step into WRC. And Max, having already been over and done some rallies, is probably a step ahead of Taylor. But yeah, it's like, a fish out of water, and you just need to swim or run like hell until you get comfortable, because there's a hell of a lot to learn.
Yeah, I'm sure lots and lots to learn. I look forward to following their journeys over the next year, and hopefully more.
There hasn't been much happened since I was over there and Molly was over there and whatnot. So it'd be really cool to see some young guys showing, what Australians can do. And I think with what Taylor's doing, he's got an opportunity to turn it into 2 years as well, which would be really cool if he can do that. And don't forget, they're co-drivers as well. So it's going to be really good to follow.
Brendan Reeves, thanks so much for your time. It's been good to catch up. We'll see you very soon at the next event, which I look forward to following and catching up with you on. Thanks so much for your time again.
No worries. Thank you.